Well, another week, another House of the Dragon episode, and let's just say, I'll be honest. I don't know if I'd say I actually enjoyed this one a lot more than last week's. I was actually again I had a big kick taking notes and seeing things for the first time, seeing new places, seeing rumors because once again I've been doing some World of Ice and Fire research today and there was a lot of rumors that were kind of confirmed in tonight's episode. So but yeah, hey, oh yeah, everybody's rating tonight. So yes, yeah, Prophet and Salty will be on shortly. They're wrapping up their stream right now. They're probably getting ready. So, but other than that, welcome and yeah. So tonight I identify as King Nerporial the First. You know, first of his name, uh, uh, King of all Nerporials and ruler of the Nerporial Continuum. And other than that, want to say hello to Pips. What's up, Pips? How you doing, Pips?
Hey, how are you? Thanks again for having me on. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, you've been a big part of this conversation. You've been asking a lot of big questions that all of us haven't thought about. Like should these do these things fit in the episode? Like could these things be done better? And I think your takes are invaluable
Thank
to the
you.
stream. So I really appreciate it. And yeah, I want to improve my own analysis and takes thanks to you, Pip. So, but what do you think of? Initial takes on tonight's episode?
Huh. Um, I think tonight's episode was a difficult one for me to grade. I think so. Better than the last two episodes in my mind. So that's I'll say that flat out. I think better than the last two episodes. And again, for anyone, I have not read Fire and Blood. So if they, absolutely desecrated the lore, that's not what I'm talking about. So I think better. At the same time, a little less riveting for me. I was less kind of grabbed on an ongoing basis by the story. So I think that it was better in that you could really see the plot kind of moving along, coming to a point. Everything that we've seen so far was kind of building. So that's good. I like to see that, especially going into the halfway point in the season. They're about to have the change with the cast for the two female leads, aging them up. But there were also some things that we'll get into, I'm sure, that I questioned how they did it or why they did certain things. So I think I would give it. I think I gave last week and the week before like a 6.5 and a 7. I would say 7.5 on this one. So a solid.
Yep, for now. Once we get through the discussion, that may change. So
that may change. What about you?
But yeah, I mean, I liked what I saw so far. And yeah, hey, everybody, I want to say hello to before going in any further. We got two more people that just came from their own stream. Prophet is here. What's up, hey. Prophet?
So
how's the stream? Thanks for raiding the Corporeal Continuum.
I see quite a few hopping over, so I'm glad. Thank you for anybody that came over from the watching. I see quite a few of you guys, so thank you. Went well. I thought enjoyed the episode quite a bit. Sorry, got here a little bit late. I apologize for that, sir.
Is it better than another show that must not be named?
I don't remember what show you're even referring to. What are you talking about?
Good. Oh, sorry. I had a bad dream. I dreamed that some company associated with a river in South America was making a new show based on Tolkien's Legendary.
Oh,
I guess that's all in my head. I'm sorry.
Did that dream involve riding a horse?
Well, I was playing Elden Ring, so maybe.
Did you ever find the horse?
I did. That I'll get into that. That game is tough. Like
it is hard.
It's my gosh.
Hard.
Got your horse right here. I don't know what you're talking about. All you got to do, just call me up right there.
Yeah, Pips versus Torn. Torn's the horse that the horse that you get in Elden Ring. So we'll see. But we have another guest here. And and he needs no introduction. It's welcome to Mr. Salty Texas Sea. And his screen is black, is blank. And not sure why.
What
There
the
he
hell
is.
is going
Okay.
on?
For a second, I was thinking Tony
Jesus.
Soprano, the end of The Sopranos, when everything
No,
goes black.
going over to StreamYards is like, it's always a damn mess. But yeah, that was fascinating. We brought a hell of a lot of people to this channel and tonight, so maybe you can wait 2 minutes next time. I know it's your channel, but you can wait 2 minutes. But what did you guys think of this show? Is it as good as the Rings of Power, guys? Is it as good? Because I can't tell. It's a toss-up.
Rings of Power is a real show?
Toss-up. It's a toss-up for me between Rings of Power. No, I can't even make that joke.
So Rings of Power is actually a real show. I thought I had a bad dream.
No, it's not a real show. It's $1 billion money laundering operation. In my humble opinion.
Yeah,
Probably. Yeah.
All right, but before we go any further, I want to say hello to people in the chat. So we have Nerdscape already says hail, welcome. We got Shane Nolan here. He was on a stream. Shane Nolan knows quite a bit. He's a big lore expert with Song of Ice and Fire. So
Nice.
yeah, if Lady Balefire shows up, they can correct me or correct us if we're wrong on anything. And then someone named Pips, I don't know who that is. Dempsey.
That guy's a jerk.
Yeah.
Dempsey's not a jerk. That's uncalled for.
Pips is a jerk. Dempsey's a good dude.
We had Nosferatu, and he's declared me. He's crowning me God Emperor Nerd Boreal. Oh,
Sounds
no.
good. Sounds good.
Oh no! And
we lost him. He froze.
Oh no!
Yeah, this is weird. This is what StreamYards was doing. Everybody, I don't know if anybody can see us in chat. Is it going live at all?
It was live. I'm over in chat as well. It seems like it's live there. It's just
all right. I'm gonna check it out. Yeah, it's just
the king first of his name.
Yeah, no, Nerporial every once in a while. Oh, there he is. He's back.
There he is. He's back.
Yeah. No, talk shit about me. I want to hear it.
No. I was going to make a joke that you were involved in a transporter malfunction, but thank God you came back. We upped the game. We got Scotty and upped the game because we got your pattern back.
I'll be honest. If you've seen Star Trek: The Motion Picture, that part of the movie is actually pretty scary. It's actually pretty scary. Just the way they scream, it sounds like something. Oh yeah. There's horror elements in those early Star Trek movies. Wrath of Khan Wrath of Khan brings the body horror to the nth degree in that movie.
When they say what we got back didn't live long, fortunately.
I thought it was horrible acting delivery, but it was chilling anyways. So yeah, but yeah, and we got former coworker Lee Bodie. What's up, Lee? Check your LinkedIn messages. Okay.
Job offer incoming.
Yeah. Wow. and we got Wakizashi Sea House. So before I go any further, I do want to thank Cardinal Sin. During my last stream, and I forgot I didn't acknowledge it, but he gifted 10 memberships.
Ooh, nice.
So a whole bunch of people.
On fire. He's been on fire. He was giving them out for Doomcock on Friday, like lots. Well, congratulations, hail Cardinal Sin.
I mean, I did send him a thank you. Awesome. But I felt like I felt compelled to thank him live. So once again, if you're listening, Cardinal Sin, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And of course, because of that, Wakizashi or Gray is now a channel member, and a bunch of other people who I'm like, they're channel members, really?
Yeah, I got gifted 5, and they never distributed them, so I'm in a big old fight with YouTube about it. So I'm not real happy about it, but yeah.
Oh, really? Thank you.
No, for me.
Oh, for you. Oh,
yeah. Somebody gifted me 5 memberships, and they never distributed them. So it's like, what the heck?
I think I might have been on that stream.
Yeah, you were.
That's why I had to go and buy it for myself like a schmuck.
Well, I mean, there's Nerporial memberships if you're interested in joining. A good way to support the channel, and you definitely have a say in the projects I do next. So, probably should do a membership stream pretty soon. So, all right, but besides that, we have Hodel Coin. Why did Sir Kristen Cole kill Sir Joffrey Lonmouth? Seemed kind of random. We'll get into that.
I think we
I wasn't
will.
even sure that was Sir Joffrey Lonmouth until it said in the subtitles Sir Joffrey. I was like, okay, that is him. So
Yeah.
all right, so all right, so Salty. So since you can only be here for a limited time,
I'm
of
sorry.
work,
Yeah, I keep not winning the lottery, Nerdporial, and work keeps making early morning meetings, which is something that I absolutely hate, but I can't complain because they give me money. So my apologies.
Oh yeah. So within that time, please please share your thoughts. And
Oh Jesus! All right. Well, yeah. I mean, I just talked about it, but it's like I give this show an 8 out of 10. I like the world building. I liked the intrigue. I thought that the lived in world feeling was amazing. But I think to me, again, it's impossible to watch the show and not compare it to the Rings of Power. It's impossible. And what I ended up doing is I looked at the character development over 4 episodes, getting into the mid season of the Rings of Power. And I looked at the character development based upon the House of the Dragon. Now, the House of the Dragon is an imperfect television show. I'm not going to debate the merit of the lore because on this show, I am a true normie. I stopped reading George R. R. Martin, I think after book 5 or 6 or whatever the hell it was. I just got tired of it. I got tired of it. I'm tired of my subversions of my expectations and all that other shit. So I'm watching this show, and has a standalone fantasy show. It's not bad. It's not perfect, but it's sometimes pretty good. And so that's why this was the highest rated episode I gave out of 5 to date. The reasons why I liked it: the character development, I liked the lived in world, the costuming was fantastic. I liked the way the characters had arcs over 5 episodes. This was building toward a story that I don't entirely know. The time jumps have been problematic, but I was entertained. Now, again, is this something that I'm going to look back in 5 or 10 years and go, this is great television? I don't know. If we're in the nuclear apocalypse and maybe it's the only thing I can watch, maybe. But this is a just above pedestrian show if we were in the 1990s.
Oh yeah, easily.
And if we were in the 2000s, I'd say it was all right. But here in 2022, this is a pretty good show. Now, I wish the world weren't like this, but to me, that's the reality of the situation. So, again, not the greatest thing I've ever seen, not the worst thing I've ever seen. I wish it was more, but it's still the cleanest dirty shirt in the fantasy world right now. So that's my take.
Okay. Wow. I appreciate that. That was a very but like with nowadays, like I'm just gonna say this, like Hollywood, I don't know if they're just so up their own asses or they're just so full of hubris. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But they're not even trying. They're not even trying to entertain anymore. And that was the big deal. I mean, that's Hollywood of old. I mean, I was watching Behind the Planet of the Apes, the original film. And the thing that the studio had wanted most of all, Richard Zanuck said that I didn't care about Planet of the Apes is full of allegory. There's so much allegory in that movie. It's like, it's probably more so than even Star Trek. And he said, well, I just wanted it to be an entertaining movie. That's all I saw out of it. And that's what I wish current producers, current studios thought that way. I mean, it's long gone. And it's crazy. It's crazy to think that. And I'm definitely gonna try and clip that if I can find a clip of it on YouTube or a clip of it somewhere so I can include it in my video. So stay tuned. But yeah.
If you want a wingman on Planet of the Apes, let me know because I love the original ones, even the trash ones. I love.
Okay, them. I mean, I do want to bring people into to share their stories on videos because I felt the one I did with my friend for Ocarina was received well. I want to keep doing it. So, all right, well. So Prophet, did you give your initial take on this, or did you?
No, I didn't. But I'll keep it short and sweet. I enjoyed it. I thought giving it a number, I'd say right about where Salty said, about an 8, 7.5, 8, probably leaning towards 8, just because all the build up paid off. I think there was a lot of build up, a lot of interesting conversations that crescendoed in that final scene. I think, like you said, it's a good mid-season finale sort of deal where you had, especially since it looks like we're getting the character changes or the actors and actors changes next episode probably. The king is in peril now. Damon has done, Damon's still doing mischievous things behind the scene. Sir Crispin is messed up in the head. Rhaenyra is position is sort of secured, but not really, because now you have Alicent doing her thing. Still enough balls in the air that you're wondering what's going to go on, but a lot of stuff wrapped up into a bow from where it started. So I was glad to see. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, and it felt like this was a very appropriate end for first half, and then now they're gonna obviously there's gonna be a huge time gap.
Yep, I wasn't sure if we were gonna expect action. I didn't look at anything going into this. I wasn't sure if it's gonna be an action-packed episode or what. I was getting a little worried because there wasn't, there's a lot going on, but also not a lot going on at the same time, if you know what I mean. So it was one of those, but it was calculated, and I think it was done because of how it ended. It makes obviously the ending makes, for me, the ending, how they ended it made the whole first half of the episode much better. You could see why they were doing what they were doing.
They are so moving pieces into place. It's like chess pieces into place. It's not even funny at this point. So but yeah, like it was just a big episode. Heck, I'll just say this before going into the full breakdown. Heck, you know how there's all these feelings in hallways, feelings. They're talking about people's feelings scenes, between two people, and Rings of Power is no exception to that.
In Khazad-dûm, in a boat, in a latrine, in a well, while being chased by orcs. Yes,
I found the conversation between Corlys and Rhaenys way more compelling than any of that, of that on these other shows, because they don't just talk about they do talk about. She talks about her concerns,
but
they don't just talk about feelings. Yeah, their purpose. They don't just talk about feelings, about feeling stuff.
Yeah,
they talk about like what's going on, in the greater context, and that's what people want to see. That's what people like us want to see. So
also, that's talking about your feelings is not really a thing that many people do unless they're talking to their therapist, right? Like
true.
most people,
or lover or something,
like even in real relationships, like we avoid talking about our feelings because honestly, we're often pretty bad at even understanding our own feelings while we're feeling them. So those are hard conversations to have. People avoid them. So when you watch someone on screen just having it out and you're like, who's the therapist? Like this has been going on for more than an hour. I think the session's supposed to end.
Yeah,
right?
I know. This is like who wants to listen to that stuff?
And when you talk about feelings like that, that's the thing is Pips, they ring hollow. That's why these scenes are hollow, because these are essentially, I have to tell you what I can't show you. And that's what the Rings of Power is I'm telling you what I can't show you. That's why you end up with exposition and talking about feelings in hallways, because the writers of these shows don't have the skill, ability, or interest to show you what it is they're telling you. So, I'm going to savage the Rings of Power mercilessly, not because I'm a racist, not because I'm afraid of strong women, but because the writing is lazy. And it appears to be written by people with emotional development that is at a 5 to 7 year old level. Guess what? There's a lot of people that aren't that stunted. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. I agree. I totally agree.
I think the scene you picked about Corlys and Rhaenyra, Rhaenys having their conversation is a great one to highlight that difference as well. Because, like you said, neither one of them talks about their feelings. They're talking about concrete things, right? They're talking about their son. They're talking about the fact that she wasn't made queen. They're talking about these different dynamics. But the actor, through the way that they actually act it out, I know that's a complicated thing for a lot of modern actors, that they have to actually be actors. They tell you a lot about their feelings because of the way that their presence is being modulated in the scene, and then the way they respond to each other, the things that they sort of shy away from saying instead of, again, just throwing everything out in the open. That's how you assess people's emotions and feelings in real life, because again, we're not open books, right? We hide things, we lie to ourselves, we lie to others. And that scene I thought was pretty good in showing us the complex motivations of both of those characters.
Yeah, I want to apologize. I was you were talking about acting. I was trying to do my Galadriel, but it was terrible. So Chad,
Actually,
I'm sorry.
got
I
that.
distracted you from what Pips was saying.
I did get that. I got Galadriel from that though.
I figured, but the thing was, you were saying something. I probably shouldn't have, put the attention on me. So my bad. So, but yeah. Once again, Pips, you are full of great takes. Like,
True.
Just having you on makes me want to improve. Like I said earlier. So, well, same with all you. Salty, you make me, Salty, Steve. You guys are like, you guys are the reason why these chats work, because I would be yeah, maybe, or I would just I get nervous and keep saying the same words to the point where people start getting annoying.
You're charming and handsome.
Stuff.
You're charming and handsome and beautiful and soulful and real, Nerdporial.
Okay, the millennial.
The world needs more nerd. We need a world of Nerdporials, not a world of Frosks. Oh, I'm making them blush. Yes.
The millennial in me needs all the validation I could get. Thank you.
Words of affirmation.
Yeah,
words of
exactly.
affirmation. There you go.
That's all you're gonna get. No touch and no gifts. That's all. But I do got to split, guys, and I don't want to. I really don't. But I like paying my mortgage. So thank you for having me on very much, Nerdporial. Pips, it was great to see you. Steve, I'm getting sick of you. I don't want to work with you anymore.
Yeah, screw you too, buddy.
It's great to see you guys. So I hope you have a good rest of the show. I, of course, am kidding. Chat, I'm kidding.
Anything to promote? Anything to promote before you leave?
Yeah, I got the Tuesday show going on 7:00 on Tuesday. We're going to be talking starting in October. Well, I've got a special project which I'm going to start releasing promos for that a lot of other YouTubers are involved in, and I look forward to that. It's based on a holiday that occurs in October, and you guys can imagine that. We have the Tuesday live show. I'm going to be doing Woo Woo Wednesday with Purple Valkyrie, 2:00 Central Time. Then, of course, I help produce and mod Zach's channel as well. Oh yeah, and then I got to watch that goddamn show, The Rings of Power, on Thursday night. So
you don't have to. You can.
I think I'm gonna stop.
Steve,
I think I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna just watch it later. So yeah. I'm done. I hate this fucking show. This was a good show. This is a good idea. I'm sorry to bail on you guys. I won't flake next week. Good night to you, Leia Rose. Good night, Nathan. Good night, Gray, Dempsey, Shane Nolan. You all are fantastic. Please have a fun, good, chill, easy week. Thank you, Nerdporial.
Night, buddy.
No problem.
Yes,
Take care. Okay. All right. So now it's just the three of us. So.
Yes, sir.
But you know what he said? That means there's a power vacuum in hand. So if he's not going to do Rings of Power,
he's going to do it.
I know, but I just wanted to entertain the idea of a power vacuum.
He's going to do it. If he's not, I'll do it. I'll do it. We need somewhere to vent. I'll do it. But he's going to do it. I would be very surprised if it's one of those things. Watching that show together is the only thing that keeps some of your sanity.
What's funny is watching the show. I have with you guys. I have no idea what's going on, and just reading the stuff. It's just such a weak story to the point where I'm not even paying attention. Even
and you don't miss anything. It's like you have the subtitles on, you read them. I mean, the subtitles help, right? And I'm amazed that we don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but when you watch it back, because I've watched it back a little bit, it's like, wow, I thought I missed a whole bunch of stuff. I didn't miss jack crap.
Yeah.
It's like maybe some visuals, like I didn't realize that you could actually see Galadriel on the tower, when she ninja skilled her way up that tower after breaking out of prison. You can actually see her up there before she breaks through a window. But that's here nor there. That's a coming video from me here in the next few days. But yeah, I don't. We've got to be a lot more careful watching this show. Sort of reading a lot of the dialogue as it's happening when we're live watching it, because there's a lot more going on. Yeah, the Rings of Power, just I think laughing and trying not to bash our heads against something that it needs to be watched in a group. It really does, or I'd just fall asleep, I think, and just be like, what, play a video game on the side or something. I don't know.
You might play some Elden Ring.
I couldn't. We'll talk about that. I got so far, and not good enough at video games to beat that game. It's too hard.
Oh my gosh, that game. Jeez.
It's
Okay,
hard.
I don't want to get into that.
Yeah, we can talk about later.
that later.
When we talk
He-
about Nintendo Direct, we got to do that.
We do.
Sorry.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. Okay. All right. So let's begin the breakdown. So not only do I have my notebook here, I also have my handy World of Ice and Fire, and I have it set to the pages that this episode is taking place on. So I did a little homework before tonight's episode, and
Okay.
so things that were considered rumor in this book have been some of it's been confirmed tonight. So, all right. So let's get started. So we're we very first scene. Where we're outside. I'm assuming it's Northern Ireland. Obviously, I think they're still shooting in Northern Ireland, and we see Castle up on a hill, and we realize this is Lady Ray or Rhea or Ray or I forget how they pronounce
The
it.
bronze bitch herself.
The bronze bitch herself, and she's like,
Ooh,
you know,
got
she's
done
with
dirty. Sorry, I just. Whew.
What?
Like, she got done dirty, man. Like, what? Sorry. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
I was very surprised with there's a lot of interest in her character from the promo shots and stuff like that going into this episode. So I was surprised to see how that went so quickly, you know, but I thought it was done well.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So yeah, here we have. So we have the bronze bitch herself, and she's talking to one of the Royces. That I think his name is Harold or Gerald Royce. And he's like, "Are you going alone?" And she's like, "Well, yeah, I'm just gonna be going hunting." I think, what did she say? She's hunting rabbit or something.
Deer.
That I
He
didn't-
asked if it was rabbit, and she said deer, and then she took off. I think, right? Pretty sure that's
Yeah.
what she said.
Yeah. She said
freeze?
deer, and then she came back with some pheasants. So she did not successfully get any deer, is what we're supposed to take away from that.
Yeah, she had a bunch of
so-
pheasants.
And of course, we see a hooded man approaching. I was like, "Uh-oh, this doesn't look. That doesn't look the way they showed the shot. It doesn't look good at all for."
Yeah, nobody has ever come into a little gorge like that and had an unnamed stranger on the other side of it and come back out again in a good place the other side.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, nope, bad.
So we find out that she recognizes it. It's Damon. So I'm guessing this is right after he got kicked out of King's Landing for like the second or third time.
Yeah.
And I don't really. She just starts provoking him. She's just saying all this.
That was strange. I was like, I always assumed that when he said that she was mean to him and like not a nice woman and stuff like that, I just assumed that was just him, But she
really is.
Legitimately was laying into him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
right away.
He probably deserves it, right? Like I'm not gonna spare him the sort of thing there, but it was surprising.
Yeah. I was just like, yeah, you could tell doesn't like him at all.
Like he walks up and the first thing she says is like, "You can go bang the sheep if they're willing." It's like, damn.
Yeah, because that's what he was saying about her. Like she's saying she's less attractive than the sheep. The men are screwing sheeps in the veil,
which was a good way to indicate that he's either said it in front of her or she's heard it from others, right?
Oh.
So
in the world of Westeros, especially if you read the books, like rumor is so quick. Like people found out, like as we see later in this episode, people already knew about Sir Kristen and Rhaenyra. So it was, yeah. So even though they didn't say anything, people have ways of finding out, and rumors have a way of spreading. So
yeah,
there's so much unreliable crap. That's one of the big things about the Song of Ice and Fire books. There's so much unreliable narrations or anything. So, but yeah. So there you go. So here, so Damon approaches her. She's like, "I'm not going to consummate." She's like, "You come back to consummate with me?" "Well, I'm not going to consummate." And she's just like, "Oh, I forget." Like he starts approaching her, and then I think she tries to grab her sword, or tries to grab her blade, and then I don't know what happened, but like the horse just freaked out and she fell.
Yeah, so reached for her bow, and then Damon spooked the horse. At least that's how I took it. Damon purposely spooked the horse.
Mm-hmm. That's actually how King Theoden dies in Return of the King. It's not. He doesn't. It does. The
Yeah,
horse
only
doesn't
it's
get
a
ripped up
giant
by
dragon
the
that-
fell beast
Yeah,
and gets thrown on the other to the other side of the battlefield. The fell beast just got close enough to the point where the horse got scared and Theoden fell off, and that's how he died. So
Yeah.
I guess it
Yeah.
could be
It's
anticlimactic. Another thing that
So-
Peter Jackson had changed because of for
I
cinematic
actually
reasons.
I liked it. One, it's pretty realistic. So horses. I'll put it this way: I know a lot of people who have been thrown off a horse or have had a horse roll or something else and been
Christopher
pretty
Reeve.
seriously injured.
right? I was gonna say
Yeah,
Christopher
Christopher
Reeve.
Reeve.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just I grew up around horses, and it's not at all uncommon, right?
Yeah.
If you ride horses long enough, you're gonna have a bad fall,
Yeah.
and so I liked the idea that, like, yeah, that was a good kind of assassin's plot, right? To spook the horse, and
Make
that was
it look like an accident. Yeah.
it was pretty good. So
And then she's like, so she's down. I'm assuming the first thing I thought when she was down, when she fell and she couldn't move at all, first thing I thought was Christopher Reeve. So she's
Yeah.
completely paralyzed. Like she cannot move anything below her neck. At least that's how I took it.
Well, and then just how he deals with it after that. He just steps on her just to see if she could feel it. And then, yeah, did you guys? I got the feeling he was just going to leave her there to die.
That's what I thought he was going to do too. But then he picks up like a rock or something. And he starts moving towards her.
I got that feeling, but it was like I didn't like. Sorry to interrupt. I got that feeling that he was going to leave, but it's like that would be a stupid, uncalculated risk.
Yeah.
What if somebody finds her?
yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think we have to probably assume that he was going to do it anyway. Otherwise, like you said, it would have been really dumb. But who knows? Maybe the director's comments after the episode that I never watched talked about how last episode we talked about how he was impotent, and this episode we talked about how he can't even kill someone. So this is how we show that toxic masculinity.
I did not watch the after the.
I didn't either. Yeah.
It's bad. Save yourself from
Yeah,
watching
it's not.
it.
I should hear
Every single time they say something, you're just
It's
like, man,
bullshit.
I'm glad that they fired this dude and he's working something else, and we get a new showrunner because this guy is just trying to do politics.
So you think Sapoknik got fired?
I think
Yeah.
so.
You think
Yeah,
so?
probably.
Okay.
Well, look at all the these were in the can too. Sorry to interrupt you again, Two Pips, but it's like it's I think it's a case of exactly what we said. Stop. You're
winning.
a hit. You're winning. Stop it. So this guy's out there saying stupid stuff, and HBO said stop, and they said,
stop
"Well,
with the
you won't
allegory.
stop,
Don't-
then you're gone because you're screwing this up for us." So I think that's really what happened.
HBO is looking at Rings of Power and Payne and McKay and thinking like, oh, and this dude just won't shut his damn mouth, and so they're like, you're done, you're gone.
Yeah,
that's
agree.
what I think.
I agree because it's all nonsense that's coming out of their mouth. So I think I would, even if it's not true, that's what I'm going to think. I'm going to hope HBO is going. We're not putting up with that crap anymore. Get the hell out of here. So
I mean, just like seriously though, like just drop the allegory. Let people interpret it whatever way they want. I mean, there's multiple examples. Don't really just stop doing that. I mean, like the same with Rings of Power. How how last episode was so allegorical. It was like totally against everything that Tolkien believed in, especially in his writing.
Yeah.
Everyone. I mean, yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, so yeah, shut the hell up about that. So, but we got a cut that made me think of Rings of Power, believe it or not. So when Damon picks up the rock, then all of a sudden we see a hack, or we see a like a
hacks the fish in half.
Yeah, hack the fish in half. Like, really?
Well, I was okay. I was okay with that, especially because of how it ended. Because the brutality that it ended with, it sort of saved the brutality for the end of the episode, rather than just having him bash in her skull. Yeah. Plus, there's also another. I don't think they're going to show a woman's head getting bashed in. It's just I don't think it's going to happen.
So, I will only say that I think that the fish cut was unnecessary. I think that they should have just had him holding the rock, and it showed his hand with his ring holding the rock, right, walking back towards her, and then it should just
Fade
move
out
on,
to something
right?
else.
Like
Yeah.
the audience is not dumb. You don't need to show us some silly transition to show what's happening.
You know what it made me think of? You know what it made me think of from Rings of Power? I'm sure you know exactly what cut I'm thinking of.
No idea.
The
There's so many
orc,
bad
the
ones.
orc head. The Bronwyn with the orc head. That's that dumb.
Slamming the
cut.
orc head down.
She
Sorry, there's
slams
so
it
many
down.
bad. There's so many bad ones. I can't. You know, I
Oh.
thought. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't realize. I didn't. I'll do better, Steve. I'll do better.
No, I'll do better, sir. I apologize. I should have put 2 and 2 together, but Broomhilda, as I call her,
Broomhilda.
I try to just blank her out because she's terrible. So
Yeah. All right. So cut to fish getting hacked. I wrote this. So we're on a ship now, and King Viserys is present, and he is seasick. He is
looking terrible.
Getting,
so do we think he was seasick, or do we think he was just that sick, or a little of both? Because
I think it's a combination.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's crazy, and like she or let's see, and of course we see he's seasick in front of Lord Strong. So Lord Strong is now the hand of the king. So now Otto Hightower is gone. So now we have Sir Strong, or not Sir Strong, Lord Strong, excuse me, is the hand of the king, and he has 2 sons. He's got what do they call him? They call him Broken Bones. So the eldest son is called Broken Bones. They think his name's Sir Harwin. And then his younger son is the one that we see.
I thought it was Break Bones or something like that, but similar, right?
Okay. This is Broken Bones here. So.
Oh, okay.
But who knows? Who knows what they changed in that show for sake. So, but the second son is the opportunist who we've seen before, but we see him more closely in this episode.
Is that the guy that was manipulating Rhaenyra?
Not Rhaenyra, Alicent. He's the one with the club.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Alicent.
Sorry.
That's Sir. I don't know if he's Sir Larys. I don't know if they knighted him, but if they did, it wouldn't be much for knight with that club foot. So, but yeah, that's Larys, and so those 2 are his sons, and we find out that we also see Rhaenyra and Sir Criston are there too. And I was like, where are they going? Are they going to the Vale? And then I'm like, no. And I realized after that, no, they're not going to the Vale. So we're back in King's Landing now. So this is the scene where Sir Otto is leaving. Mm-hmm. So we do get a single scene with him. He's leaving the Red Keep. And then Alicent runs up to him, and we get a very interesting conversation from him this is the conversation that really leads to Alicent really changing throughout this episode.
Well, so he basically smacks her and says, bad things are about to happen. You need to prepare one way or another, whether you're preparing Aegon or just grasping onto Rhaenyra for dear life. It's going to get bad. You need to protect yourself.
So I got a question for you guys. Do you guys think he was being completely do you think he was being genuine, like he truly believes this, or do you think this was just do you think there's a little some opportunism, some manipulation there? I'm curious what you guys think of this scene.
I think he's being genuine. I don't think it's his daughter. I don't see he has nothing to gain. I mean, at this point, he's already been, removed of the second most powerful seat in the kingdom, right? I mean, I don't know what he has.
Well, I mean, because once again, because it's his grandson that's going to be king. That's why I'm asking if there's some. Do you think there's going to be? Do you think there's some manipulation involved?
Maybe, but what he said about even if basically said if you don't want to do that, basically grab onto Rhaenyra's curtain tails and pray to God is basically what he said. So I don't know that he would have said that if it was all positioning to make Aegon king, because that's why he basically said prepare Aegon or latch yourself to her.
I think that Otto is, he's a schemer, but I think he actually plays it pretty straight in the things that he says. So he does maneuver. He tries to play to advantage, that sort of thing. But I think that when he told his daughter, I think you're making a mistake, you're jeopardizing your children, those types of things. There's going to be a war. I think that he was just trying to give her good advice. I don't think he was necessarily trying to manipulate or anything like that. I think that that's the interesting thing about his character is that he like he acts like he's really a schemer, but when you actually look at the things that he's doing and you kind of break it down, you're like, actually, I'm not really sure that somebody who is just playing it straight would have said anything different, with the possible exception of a few things that he said about marriages and stuff like that, where he was clearly trying to position his daughter. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. I personally feel like I was asking myself this question, witnessing the scene, and personally, I think there's a little bit of both. I still think Otto, there's even though he's no longer hand of the king, and of course, like I won't reveal it, but I know what happens to him after this. I still think there's some opportunism there. Is there any physical evidence? No, I just feel that he has I still feel, and the same with Allison, that they want their progeny to be the king, to be the rulers. I mean, it's something. It's always it's one of the few constants in our history, going all the way back. I mean, going all the way back to, I mean,
Oh, I think he definitely does. Yeah, he definitely wants his grandkids to be on the throne, right?
Yeah. So having having second marriages and everything is just so dangerous. Like that was, I mean, they like just forcing the king to be married after that, just like that. That's just just having that as a result is going to lead to murder or anything like that. I mean, once again, I'm gonna reference Claudius. The Caesar Augustus had a second wife who he had children who and that second wife got rid of all of his first wife's kids, either by poison or by other means, to get rid of them. So who became the emperor after Augustus? None of his kids. It was her son. Her son, who is known in history as Tiberius. Her son, the second wife, Livia, was the one that made sure that it was her kid that became the next leader of the empire. And that's how I feel about kings and kingdoms in general, especially when there was power involved. I don't know how it is now with the current, especially with all the current royals in UK or wherever else they have kings and queens that they never talk about. So I don't know how it is now with that, but still, it's that same idea. So if you're going to have your own kingdom, if you're going to write your own kingdom, the smart thing to do is to not get married, because you're just gonna bring opportunism into your court, and then there's gonna be shit, and then there's gonna be, like in this case, there's gonna be an inevitable war. Because
the smart thing to do is to have a bunch of bastards and then just pick and choose the healthy ones and just recognize them.
I mean, the bastards are so looked down upon in Game of Thrones and Song of Ice and Fire because of that, because they are so opportunistic. So that's why Lady Stark in the early books loathes Jon Snow, because she sees him as a threat to her children.
I always interpreted that as she saw him as a reminder of the one time her husband dishonored her, right?
That too.
I don't think she was actually afraid for her kids.
That's how people were taught to view bastards. Like, because there were points in the history where bastards. I can't give an example, so just you gotta take my word for it. So, but there were probably points in history where bastards have taken the opportunity to,
for sure, commit things. Well, you have the whole Blackfire stuff, but that hasn't happened yet.
That's true. That doesn't happen for like another century, I believe. So. But yeah, going back to this. So this was a very, I thought this was a very powerful conversation. Obviously, the very pivotal. This was the pivot point to where this episode was going. So everything was rotating around this scene, in my opinion, especially in regards to Allison. So let's keep going. So now we see the king and Rhaenyra are in carriage. So they were not on a ship to the Vale. They were actually going to Driftmark. So we get to see Driftmark. And I'll be honest, I thought it was cool seeing Driftmark.
Yeah, I liked it. I found it very interesting that there was nobody there to greet the king at all.
You know what I really loved? So they're going to. So I'm going to go a little bit ahead of myself. I love when they go into the castle. I love that mural. What do you guys think of that mural with the ships? They're going up the steps, and you see that big mural of the Valerian fleet. I don't know about you. I thought that looked
I like the whole inside. I thought it was great.
yeah.
I loved it. I like the little big she shell ornament. I thought it was
Yeah.
a throne at first, but I like that thing. The
I'll be honest.
throne was a interesting shape, and yeah,
I've been really happy with how they've made everything look unique in this
Yeah.
season so far. Like we've seen Storm's End, which Storm's End is we've been to Storm's End in the books, but we've never seen Storm's End in the show in Game of Thrones. So it was cool seeing that, but it was cool seeing Driftmark. I thought that was cool. But let's go back to when the king and Rhaenyra and the hand Sir Harwin, or not Sir Lord Strong arrive, and they don't even bother to come out to greet them. They don't even bother coming out to greet them. That's just like, oh, you don't want to do that. Like if you've seen the beginning of Game of Thrones, like they were like the Starks were scrambling to have preparations ready for Robert when Robert and Cersei and the rest of them, the entire royal party came.
Well, that, and also when they did come out, the two of them came out to grab them. Viserys didn't even give a crap.
No, he's just like,
care. He's just like, get on with it. Let's go.
Yeah, like that.
So,
like if this was any other king, if this was like like for let's say like Joffrey, or he would have cut their hands off.
They actually addressed why they went there, and this what's her face said it was weak to begin with. So it was addressed that the king shouldn't have gone there because it made him look weak, and he did it anyways. So the king is out of sorts at this point.
Yeah. Of course, Lady Balefire puts it perfectly right here. Why did the king and Rhaenyra go there? They're royalty. The Valyrians should go to them. And
and that's the point.
I totally agree with that. So that's a very good point. You're wondering, like, it's like he's kind of groveling to Corlys.
Yep.
And then Corlys didn't even come out.
That's the point. I think that's the point of it, to showing how weak a position that he's now in. That he's become extremely weak, and they won't even go to him.
The problem that I had with that is that, like, okay, is he a weak king? Sure, yes, he is, but he's not really that weak in terms of like the status of the kingdom, right? Corlys actually lost tons of men and money over the last couple of years, so Corlys's house is actually weakened right now. Right, that's the world that we're living in. That they created the situation where instead of the Stepstones being an easy conquest for Daemon and Corlys, it was actually a drawn out thing that they were losing. Right, they were losing, and they just barely won at the end with a gambit. Right, so the idea that Corlys is pissed off that the king never sent aid earlier, the idea that they're estranged from each other, that's all true. But the king is not actually weak in the kingdoms right now. That's not what we've seen to have shown.
But Rhaenyra's claim is weak. Everybody, it's one of those things. It's like I understand what you're saying, but everything is not only so. Daemon at this point still has claim to the throne as well. So like everybody is ready for. Everybody sees the king is dying. He's held himself as a weak king, whether he's in a weak position or not. As a kingdom. Maybe not, but he himself is weak and dying. Everybody's waiting for the civil war to pop off because half of the kingdoms aren't going to back Rhaenyra, and it's pretty much already out there that this is already a foregone conclusion. So are they? It doesn't seem like they're real eager to join with them because they don't know if they want to be attached to this part of the civil war.
Yeah, sure. They set that up. I get that, right? They're trying to spin that. But the idea that Viserys accepts those conditions as part of the meeting, right? That he doesn't summon them to King's Landing, right? It should have been at least that he summoned him to King's Landing, and then Corlys made an excuse that he couldn't come to King's Landing, and then you see Viserys now actually in a position of weakness where he has to, after summoning the guy, has to go himself, right? That would have at least established something about it, that he did what he should have done, summoned the guy, and Corlys does what he kind of talked about. Did I overextend myself in this arrangement, right? But instead, we just see him going out there and Corlys like pretending like he doesn't even know why the king's there. It's like, really? Like, you guys didn't even exchange letters? This is a new idea that's happening here. Like, what is the whole thing with that? He shows up, nobody greets him. He doesn't even get pissed about that. we've seen the dragon rear itself in his character before. It seems wrong that he responded the way that he did. This was one of the scenes that I think was poorly executed and was one of the weaker scenes in the story, in my opinion.
I get that if he was a healthy kicking man.
Yeah, and
He
that's
didn't have
kind of where
time
I'm
for
at
this.
too.
He is sick. He is dying. He could die any day.
Yeah.
His daughter, who he has put in direct peril, has not married yet because he's been too weak on her. Hasn't forced her to wed. This is his last hope to wed her to a strong ally, someone that will strengthen her position in this coming civil war that everybody knows is going to happen. He's sick. He's dying. He can't wait around for any of this BS. Now, am I saying that maybe, we could have had something where he denied it? He got a letter and said he denied audience, or that he didn't want to come? Sure. But a sick, dying man who's put his only daughter and only heir to the throne, well, not only heir, but daughter he's put in this position of peril, who could die tomorrow. I don't think it's that absurd that he is out of sorts and trying to get things sorted out for her before he dies.
Yeah, I'm with. I mean, you got really great points, Pips, but I'm actually with Steve on this one. That's why I was actually able to believe what I was seeing, based on.
I'm not saying you're
wrong. If he wasn't sick, oh no, Pips is not wrong. Like, I think they do need to establish. I agree with that.
Here's the thing. If that was going to be the case, right, then fine. The king shows up and he is physically weak and his reign is questionable, right? Got it. He should have, though, because this is how monarchies and absolute monarchies work, right? He should have showed up with basically an army, and he should have landed a bunch of freaking soldiers on Driftmark and gone up and like, cool, no one came to greet me, whatever. You, 50 of you guys, let's go. We're going to meet him in his freaking room. He should have dominated the space with all of his soldiers, because that's the power of the king, is not his ability to wield the sword. It's the dudes behind him wielding the sword. And so they made him weak with no real reason to explain why he didn't do what he should have done, which is compensate for his personal weakness with the crown. Right?
How long does it take to organize a whole army and group of people to sail rather than yourself in one boat?
If you assume that he doesn't have thousands of gold cloaks and soldiers right around King's Landing that he could have just thrown on a couple of ships and taken a few hundred of them, then maybe.
It still takes stores of food. You have to organize all this stuff to get going rather than just.
He was sending 2,000 soldiers to help in the Stepstones at the drop of a hat. We're not going to help at all. We're going to send 2,000 people. And they were going to show up so quickly that Damon was like, I need to finish this before they arrive. So apparently he can muster the armies if he needs to, right? I just think, sure, showing up with thousands, no. But he should have had a few hundred guys. They should have rolled in deep. He should have basically kicked the door down, and he should have walked up and sat on Corliss's throne.
He's never acted that way, though. He's never acted that way once. Whether he should or not, that's never how he's acted.
He has a few times.
Not when he's sick and dying.
Anytime someone has questioned him, he's all of a sudden shown the Targaryen.
Not in this state. He's dead. He is a dead man. He is a dead man walking right now. His arm is scaled over, and whatever the fuck that is, his arms are falling off.
I think that was I think that's rot.
If we had a well, or even Viserys 2 episodes ago, before they did this last time jump, sure. I don't think he's thinking about anything other than he has to get this loose end taken care of. But I do take your point. Just showing up with him and his daughter and going, "Hey, where is everybody?" Yeah, you should have some more people.
Going in to meet Corlys alone and not even bringing some of his Kingsguard and being as weak as he was just sad and pathetic. And I get it. They're trying to say that he's sad and pathetic, but I don't buy that.
Yeah, I noticed that. Like, they wouldn't even let Rhaenyra in with him. I was just like,
the Kingsguard should have come in with him.
That I did not like the way. I didn't like the way that looked. Though.
Yeah,
so I'm with you on that.
But plus side, his cousin coming up and grabbing his hand like she didn't know what she was doing. That was well done.
Oh yeah. So, but yeah, that was a very interesting. That was a very interesting scene. So here we have another thing that we see Laenor, and he's sparring with his friend his friend of various.
Sparring. Sorry, yeah.
His friend of particular appetites. I'll just say, and and of course it was Lady Lena. It was Lena. They changed her actress, so she was a little girl in like episode was it 2, and now she's slightly older in this episode, and then she's gonna be so these actors are going to be going through the Valerians are going to be going through like three actors playing the same role, so that's going to be very wacky right there. Where was I? All right, so Laenor, Corlys, that we already covered that. So now we're back in King's Landing, and there's the Weirwood, and of course there's the scene with Alicent and Sir Larys that I mentioned earlier, and he just kind of approaches her out of the blue, and it's just like, hey, you want to be an ally? And I don't even know what else I
don't know. You could tell. He was screwing with her.
He was, and of course he brings up he brings her information that was passed around, especially about Rhaenyra and the Moon Tea. So, and then she's just like, huh? No. So that was the beginning of, I don't know, like, do you think Larys was there on his own accord, or do you think somebody sent him?
Yeah, I'm curious to see where that plays into, because his dad, I feel like, is one of the few members of the Small Council, and now is the Hand that actually legitimately has Viserys' back, consistently.
Yeah, Lionel. Yeah.
And so it's strange to me, given the way that Westeros families seem to sort of line themselves up internally. So the idea that the son is off doing his own thing, but who knows? I mean, I guess we'll see what plays out with it.
Okay. What about you, Steve?
I think this is I think it's sort of a setback, and we got to see how it develops.
Yeah.
Not really much to say other than he's clearly screwing with her. To what end? Who knows? But I think it's got to be a sit back and see where it goes, and if it makes sense once it's unveiled. If he's just doing it for himself or not. Or his father. Yeah. Sorry. Because
I think the only other time we've seen him in this series was when they were in episode 3, when they went on the hunt in the Kingswood, and
I didn't recognize
him.
He
was the one that sat with the ladies. He's the one that, because he was holding his can. He was the one that was sitting with the ladies. It's like, can I sit with you ladies? The guys won't take me because I'm, I am.
I actually didn't even. Yeah, I'd have to watch it back. I didn't recognize him. I thought he was completely new, to be honest. So, yeah.
No, so, I recognized him from before, but I think we haven't seen very much of him, so it's hard to tell what his motives are, and we'll just have to kind of see him develop. I mean, he could easily become sort of like a Littlefinger or Varys kind of character,
and that's immediately where I went to.
It's just hard to see what he does. I know that role, if you will, is already being filled by the White Worm, Miss Sandra. Is that how you say her name? Whatever.
Missaria, I think.
Missaria, thank you. She's the mistress of Whispers, I think, in the sort of story as it develops, and we've already seen her kind of doing that role. So it'll be interesting,
Yeah. So here, so now we're back in. So we cut back to Driftmark, and of course, I already mentioned this. They walk in the corridor. We see that cool ass mural. I like the murals. I thought that was pretty cool. That was great work on the production side. And of course, then Corlys awaits inside. He kneels, and of course, then the king coughs, and it's like, uh-oh. We hear coughing, and I couldn't help but think of another character from another show whose last name is White. Steve, I'm sure you know who I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
I couldn't help but think maybe Viserys should just abdicate the throne and just start making crystal blue,
making that blue stuff,
sky crystal meth.
There you go. Yeah, him and Mike can hang out. Mr. Ermintrout.
Did I hear?
A transmission is coming through.
I hear a transmission.
Man, we haven't heard a transmission coming through in a while.
All right,
my goodness.
Right here, young Mike. Here we go.
I swear, if you ever show your face out there again,
I won't.
ever.
I won't. I promise you.
Never gets old. It never gets old.
It doesn't. I love it.
But speaking of which, there's something I do want to ask you after the stream if you want to contribute to a future project that I'm
Yes.
going to be doing after
Immediately,
Planet
yes.
of the
So
Apes. So that might have something to do with the side character I mentioned earlier. So
I'm in. Let's rock it. You don't even have to ask twice. I'm there.
okay,
I know what you're talking about. You got me for whatever you
Okay.
need, my friend.
okay. All right, so here we have. So they bring up Lady Ray's death, and he's like, "I don't want to hear about this. Let's talk about what's going on now." And of course, they bring up the marriage. He brings up the marriage proposal, and Corliss has a very interesting question. A very interesting. He's like, "What are you?" He's like, "How is the succession going to be handled?" And in other words, will the kids take their father's name? And Viserys is like, you know what? Sure, they'll take the father's name, but when one of them becomes king, then they take the name Targaryen, fire, blood. Yeah, sorry, Valerian. The name just doesn't sound kingly compared to Targaryen. So
Yeah.
so that made sense. So okay, so yeah, we should be able to get this done within the next 40 minutes. So Steve, yeah, I know you gotta.
No. Well, no, we're good. We should be good. I just want to give you a heads up. We're okay.
All right. So we're back to Rhaenyra and Laenor, and they're walking on the beach, and of course, I like how they phrase the conversation. They're talking about particular dishes, particular appetites. Like I forget what Rhaenyra said she didn't prefer.
Goose versus duck.
Yeah.
Goose
She
versus
thinks the
duck.
goose is a little bit greasy, she said.
Goose versus duck. And here in the World of Ice and Fire, they bring up where is it? They bring up fish. So here I'm going to read this. So Laenor preferred the company of squires of his own age, and was said never to have known a woman intimately, nor to have any bastards. But to this, Grand Maester Melos was said to have remarked, "Well, what of it? I am not fond of fish, but when fish is served, I eat it." In other words, if duty comes, they'll perform it, or will they? And I have to bring up someone in White Cloaks was on Twitter talking about a particular plot point, especially with which could be problematic, especially with how they chose to deal with giving Valerian race swapping Valerians, because let's just say you know how Ned Stark found out that Robert's kids were not his, based on the book, because of the attributes of the family. The Baratheons, all the kids, the dominant gene is that they have full heads of black hair and they have bright blue eyes. But Joffrey, Tommen, and Myrcella are all blondes, and they have green eyes, which is a trait of House Lannister. Right. So that's kind of how that was basically all the true. Well, it wasn't really. It was the proof that he needed to know that there was something was afoot. So, and so there's a similar issue here. So she has kids with Laenor, but they look nothing like the Valerians. But the thing is, in the books, the Valerians are pale skin. They look like the Targaryens. They have the same silver hair, the violet eyes, and like I said, the pale fair skin. Well, I don't know if it's. I guess pale would be perfect. But here, her kids are big, and they have brown hair, and they have brown eyes, and they're strong. So it's like, you're kind of like. So I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know how they're going to do it with the way they do it, with the way they're having it done in House of the Dragon, because they believe that those kids. I'm going to spoil something. Those kids are the father is Broken Bones, or was it Broken Bones? Break Bones. Sorry, Break Bones. So, yeah.
It's the father of who?
Break Bones.
It's
the father of her kids. She has 3 kids. She has 3 kids with Laenor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
3 boys. And some people think because Laenor has, he's not pale of skin. He's got, because his father Corlys is, Summer Island, some he looks like from some Summer Islands. So I don't know how they're going to handle that. If
Maybe
she
they
if they
won't.
do that, so that was
Maybe
Who
they
knows,
won't.
man.
Yeah.
It remains to be seen if they're able to deal with the implications of race swaps and stuff like that in a way that makes sense. So far, I think they've done an okay job, and Corliss has been doing a strong deliverance in his role. So
You know what they should
I'll
do?
just say I'll see what they do and judge it based on that.
Ignore it.
I thought
plenty-
Breakbones had a nice little moment at the end of this episode, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
I think it's just ignore it. Don't broach that storyline. Just dance your way around it. Yeah, that's the only thing you can do.
Yeah.
Really. So we'll see if that's what they do. If they try to explain it away, I think if they spend a lot of time trying to explain it away, then they're going to lose a lot of storytelling that they should be doing. But we'll see, I guess.
We'll see. So here we have we have the scene that I was expecting, that there's going to be Laenor and his boyfriend, boy toy, whatever you want to call him,
It was one of those,
or
like,
boy
all
night,
right.
I'll say. Well, Sir Night,
So this is where I thought we got a little. Do we just do we play off a lot of some of the miscalculations the children are making because they're children? Because they're making a lot of miscalculations and making decisions that are obviously bad ones. Like, it's okay if you have your gay boy toy because she'll have her night boy toy. Does that sound like a good idea to anybody taking over any type of kingdom?
No.
So it's one of those. That was one of the things that are we supposed to write that off as kids thinking they can have their cake and eating it too, or just
and it's supported by the episode. I mean, go back to let's talk about Rainey's and Corliss's conversation.
Yeah.
They reference his homosexuality, but Corliss believes. I mean, this is kind of ignorant on his part, but he believes it's because he's young,
Mm-hmm.
and he'll eventually grow out of it or something.
So, I think that this is a case of some, potentially some modern politic kind of stuff in getting into this part of the story, because whether or not he is gay, he should still very much be a product of his time in terms of his interest in ensuring that his future children, the children that will potentially inherit the Iron Throne and take over the kingdom and the inheritance of his house, he should still be very concerned that they are his legitimate offspring, right? And that's, to put it sort of bluntly, the historic sort of engagement between men and women in a monogamous relationship is that the man gets some sort of assurance that the offspring that he is raising are his, right? And the woman gets some sort of assurance that there's going to be a man who actually sticks around to help raise them, right? That's sort of the bargain when you boil it down to its most sort of like transactional relationship, right? Yeah. And so the idea that he, as a noble of a high house who stands as the heir of that house and to take over as essentially the heir of this kingdom, is going to not be bothered by the fact that anything that comes from their union is a high likelihood of not even being his offspring. I don't see it. I don't think that he takes that bargain. That is us trying to be very like accepting and all these other things. Like, but it's not the sensible thing for him to do. He would have never accepted a relationship under those terms. He might be willing to do his duty, but he's still going to make sure that his heirs are Valerians, not whatever.
Yeah. I think this is one of the points that I definitely agree with Lady Balefire here. Too much gay out in the open. It should be very cloak and dagger. There's even scenes later where they're almost cuddling together out in the open. It's just like,
Yeah, like the
this
books are not like that. Like especially with
like Game of Thrones season 1 with Renly and what's his name?
the
They
Knight of
do it better.
Flowers,
They do it
Sir
better. I think Sir Loras, yeah, I
and
think they
heck,
do it better.
in the books, and because the books are strictly point of view, so like it's barely like it's referenced, but it's referenced in a clever way. Like it's referenced based on like dialogue and name calling.
Yeah,
saying, "Oh, you would never, you would leave your wife a virgin, or you would make your wife die a virgin." Those type of insults is what. So we never actually see them. Well, we see how we see how Sir Loras reacts to Renly's death in the second book. Spoiler alert.
yeah. But no, it was just done way better in Game of Thrones. It's way too out in the open.
Yeah,
way too out in the open.
especially with this. I mean, this is a medieval system. I mean, with where men are still,
and Corlys way too accepting of it too. I agree on all fronts.
I mean, I was okay with the family knowing, kind of like how Lady Olenna knew about Loras, being a sword swallower, as she put it, being a sword swallower.
Do you know
sword swallower? Excuse me.
How much danger does that put him in, though? I mean, it's like I would be like, it's like, okay, I know, but like you need to like bury that part of yourself and do your duty, and then like if people find out, you're fucked. Like,
I mean, what's weird is like what's weird is like once again going into like how rumors and things like rumors spread right around Westeros like wildfire. Get it?
Dragonfire.
Okay, Dragonfire, and so like everybody knew, like the show kind of said, but it's not really the show. The books kind of made it clear that everybody knew what Loras and Renly were. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Eventually,
it'd be a question. It'd be a question for George himself. If he's ever interested in finishing his series.
Yeah, eventually, but I mean, a lot of those rumors are circulated by people looking to do harm to them. So, which ends up doing harm to them, right? So, I mean, that's why that's a perfect point. It's like it was harmful that it got out, whether they knew or not. It was directly harmful to those two characters.
Yeah, and we see what happens to what's his name, Joffrey.
Yeah.
All right, so we're back. So let's keep this going. So
yes, sir.
Rhaenyra and Kristen are back on the ship, and they have their little. They have this very. They have this conversation that was referenced. Like one of the big mysteries was why Rhaenyra in World of Ice and Fire was why Rhaenyra and Sir Kristen have had a falling out. And there's a lot of rumor. So apparently this scene, of course, last episode where she, has her day with him. Well, it's just they believe that there was a falling out. I'm gonna see if I can find. I'm gonna think I can find it right here. So, like one of the things that they said in here was that, like, one of the rumors was that Kristen wanted her to run away with him. And they go to like where they say they're going to go to Dorne. They're going to go to Dorne, and then they're going to go to Essos.
Yeah,
and just like travel around the free cities.
The docks in Sunspear, and go to Essos or Asai or
Okay, Asai is all the way far away. I mean, that's where Melisandre's from. That's where all the witches and warlocks, and some even believe dragons are in that vicinity, or dragon eggs are in that vicinity. I have to reread this because there's a whole section here on Asai. But not a whole lot of people go that far. So,
I disliked this scene for two reasons. One of them we got into a little bit before we kind of started the live stream here, so I'll just kind of rehash that, which is I have complained consistently about Rhaenyra's development as a character, where she keeps on stopping and starting and resetting as her maturity goes up. And this episode was just like, I am the crown. I have responsibilities. I have duties. I have to marry a noble husband and produce heirs. Like, that's my job. Everything else is secondary. This looms larger than me or anyone in my family. And it's like, where was that 4 episodes ago? So that was frustrating to just see that all of a sudden drop on top of us. Like,
When you decided to sleep with the dude, where were all those responsibilities?
It was like, yeah, welcome
Yeah.
to the freaking party. Thank you.
Yeah, finally you said the right thing. Where was that?
I'm gonna assume it's because the king, her father, called her a political headache, and I think that's what completely changed her.
Except they've had a fight every single episode, and it seems like she learned her lesson, and then she doesn't, and then I just want to, you know.
I'm kidding. I didn't think that was the case, but you know.
Anyway, so there's that. I've been worried about that the whole time, that like she's eventually going to have to grow up for the story to continue and progress, and I thought that it would be a hard thing for them to catch up on 4 episodes of missed opportunity to develop her at a actual gradual pace. And I am unsurprised to have been right in that. I feel like, we had kind of a bumpy ride, and then just like, bam, here's a cliff. Now she's up here. And that was,
she just went full on. Whoop.
Yeah.
Okay. King and country.
Yep. So, and then the other
reason,
an
over course correction, but it was the right course correction, but it was like over. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the second reason, and then I'll pass it back to you guys, is just they were having this out in the open on the back of a ship. Ships are very small. There's actually anybody who's ever been around the naval service, there's these things called the laws of the Navy. Naval officers have to memorize these. But one of them, it's a poetic form sort of thing. And one of them is, take heed what you say of your seniors, be your words spoken softly or plain, lest a bird of the air hear the matter, and so shall you hear it again. And the idea is basically that if you say shit on a boat, everybody's gonna fucking hear you, and you should probably make sure you don't talk shit about other people, because it's gonna be brought right back to you, right? And so the idea is there are no secrets on a ship, and here they are on the back of a ship having this friggin' discussion out in the open next to a cabin that has these little like arrow slit kind of like windows in it. I'm like, a dude could be sitting in there right now. Like, this is ridiculous. So
yeah,
no, I'm with you there.
Yeah, I'm with you there too. So. Yeah, I didn't realize that, but it
seemed like a very odd place to be having conversation.
Is it just because it's out in the open, or is it because they're on the water? Maybe
it's closed spaces.
Very close spaces. There's no such thing as privacy.
Separating you. I mean, there's like wood paneling.
Yeah, no such thing as privacy, and words carry out on the open water.
Okay, I'll keep that. Yeah, okay.
And they're sitting there having a talk. Like he turned. It's just there's nowhere to go. It's a boat in the ocean. You come out to take a piss off a rail. You're watching these two talk to each other, looking each other's eyes, one getting emotional. Yeah. It's like, what the hell's going on over there? It's just.
I was honestly hoping that would be the way that the thing would get out. Was that like, they're being done. They're having this conversation here. Somebody should have came up out of that door to like vomit over the side and then looked at the two of them.
Could have even been Viserys puking. It's like, what the fuck is going on over there? Right? I mean,
so there you go. Yep. I'm out. That's my scene. That my 2 frustrations in that scene.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. All right, so let's keep this going. So they're back in King's Landing, and Viserys once again is not well, and of course the Queen summons Sir Criston, and she wanted to ask him about Rhaenyra and Daemon, and he ended up confessing his transgressions to her. Mm-hmm. And she's just like, you can go. Okay. You can go.
Yep.
So
never talk to cops. Come on, Sir Criston. Rule number 1.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Zax, am I right? Never talk to cops.
She kept being around the bush, and he just told her. I was just like, oh.
Well, she owns him now too, so 100%.
She does. So I was just like, for a second, I thought like, because he kept asking, like, I can't. He's like, if you're gonna do something, just just send me to my death, or at least that's how I saw it. It's like, don't cut off my hands, just have them execute me.
He said, don't geld me.
Yeah, don't geld me.
Don't cut my balls off. Just kill me.
Just kill me. So here's Sir Criston is now. This is the pieces are moving into the place where he eventually becomes known as the Kingmaker. Spoiler alert.
Mm-hmm.
So we're back. So she dismisses him, and we're back in the King's chamber, and the maesters are tending to him. He's just laying there. He looks like shit.
terrible. They did a great
Yeah,
job of
for
making
a second
it
I
look
thought he
bad.
was dead. First, like, 'cause I saw that clip in the last week's episode, I thought he was
He,
dead.
we thought he died at the end of that scene when he closed his eyes. I'm like, oh shit, he just died because he looks like fucking death.
But that wouldn't work.
What do you guys
That
think?
that would not work.
Are we gonna see him again, or is his fall down at the end of the episode?
I think that's it. I think he's dead. Maybe a bear. Well, I mean,
No,
it depends how far we're jumping.
He cannot die because it's his death that starts the Dance of the Dragon.
Well, wait, what? Okay, so how are they going to jump into? He can't live that much longer, can he?
He's gonna probably he's probably gonna be one of those people that's gonna be dying for years.
He's just gonna be in bed dying, and they're gonna be running the kingdom around. Okay, I guess
probably. Yeah,
I guess that makes sense. More Ward of the North stuff, or Ward of Minas Tirith. Go crazy, right? I guess
Ward of Minas Tirith.
The
Steward of Minas.
Steward of
Gondor. Steward of Gondor. Sorry.
What about the Ward of Numenor?
The steward of Numenor, yeah, there you go. The bitch of Numenor. Oh, sorry, my bad. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I already swore at the hour 15 mark. So either we're either demonetized or they stopped looking.
The floodgates are open.
Oh no,
it's
I got a copyright claim for using the Game of Thrones.
Yeah, the intro. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
So like I think for a second I'm like, what the heck did Lionel, what the heck did Lord Lionel give to him? He gave him like a little potion, and I couldn't help but think of when Jamie Lannister gave him Olenna the poison that in the cup from that same type of little container.
I don't think anybody's actively trying to kill him though. That's the thing. I don't know.
I thought that was the maester's understudy who was like, yeah, I got this herbal poultice that we should use, or poultice. And he was like, no, leeches are good. And the dude was like, maybe I'll make him this little thing over here because old man Maester is going senile with the leeches all the time.
Yeah, I think it's part of his we got what the hell, nothing's helping. We got to do something.
It's a sleeping draft. Okay.
Oh, so that's why it looked like he died. He just fell asleep.
Because I'm like, was he dead? And then we see him at the wedding.
So
I was like, okay,
it's not grayscale.
Dead.
Is that correct? That's just some weird shit going on.
Because his fingers were rotting. Well, I think it's.
Well, yeah, but he's got like a layer of something over his skin. It's just nasty looking. It's nasty.
I think that was rot from the. I think that was because his hand. They were putting his hands in the maggots and everything.
So
if he's still alive, if he's still alive next episode, I hope they amputate the arm.
Yeah.
Oh,
I hope he's in barely. He's got a leg missing. And he's just in bed or something. He's just
a leg missing. Okay.
Well, I mean, it has to. I mean, at this point, he's got to do something.
Yeah,
right.
True.
I mean, there are desperate measures, right? They got. I mean, maybe I don't know. Like for him to be living, it's just got to be bedridden and just falling apart piece by piece.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it must smell insane.
Terrible. Yeah.
Yes. So we're back to So he asks. So we're back to that scene. So he asks Lionel, like, he's curious how he'll. So another reason why I thought he was going to die here is because he asks Lionel, like, how will I be remembered? What's my legacy going to be like? And I think what I took away was I think that Sarah said he feels like he was never truly tested. So he feels like he's not worthy amongst the other kings. And Lionel's like, well, I think those kings that were tested wish they weren't. At least that's how I think more was said. Did I get that down right, Pips? Do you think did I get that down right?
Yeah, this kind of reminded me of like the line that Theoden talks about in Lord of the Rings, talking about when he goes to the Hall of his fathers, will he feel to be a shame in their company?
Right.
I think it's a pretty common sort of trope line for a king nearing the end of his life. I was not offended by it or otherwise. I thought that his hand continues to show himself to be a pretty decent dude. That's about it.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Then let's keep going.
I think it's him sort of just hoping that his time wasn't wasted. He's not sure what type of king he was. He's reflecting. That's
Yeah,
it's just
I think it's common.
Yeah, I think it's
pretty
got
common.
it's just common. It's end of your life, hoping your life amounted to something equal to the ones before you. I think that's all that was reflecting, is just his thoughts about his death, impending death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm taking away from it too. So, all right, so now it's the day has come. The dragons are flying. The Valerian fleet is on its way to King's Landing. It's a wedding day. I don't
It's
think.
feast day, right? It wasn't supposed to be the wedding day.
Well, it
Was it
weird
supposed to be the wedding day? I thought it was just a feast day. They were getting wed later.
Well, they did get wed later. I don't know if they got
Well, no,
wed
I
the
thought it
same
was supposed to
night.
be days later. I thought they were having the tournament and everything, and then they were going to get wed.
I forget how that works. I'd have to re. I have to.
It's supposed to be 7 days of feasting and tournaments, and then a royal wedding, is what he said.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
So clearly they upped the schedule.
Yep, clearly.
Yeah. So here
Crossbow
we have
wedding. Shane Nolan in the chat. That's a good one.
Crossbow wedding. You know what's funny? They had the wedding in the throne room this time. The wedding was the Joffrey's wedding was supposed to be in the throne room, but I forgot why they did it. I don't know if the set was probably because the set wasn't big enough. But the purple wedding in the books was in the throne room. They covered that large ass iron throne, and then they just had everything go on. So Joffrey, choked on his poison, turned purple inside the throne room, and Sansa and Sir I forget his name, Dantos. Sir Dantos he spirits her out of the Red Keep because he knows some of the secret passages. I guess Littlefinger knew the secret passages, but it just made me think. Okay, now we finally get to see. We got to see one in the throne room. I know that Tyrion had his wedding in season 3. I don't remember if it was in the throne room though. Maybe it was. I forget.
It was in the Sept because there's the scene where Joffrey takes the stool away from Tyrion.
Yeah,
that was during the.
That was during the wedding though. I was talking about during the feast.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember where the feast was.
Okay. But yeah, the feast was like in the Game of Thrones show, they had the feast outside. So they had a different so I forget why they did that. So but it doesn't matter. So the wedding feast, King and Rhaenyra, the queen isn't present, of course. We see Sir Gerald again from the Vale, and he's of course, they express their condolences for what happened to Lady Rhea. I think he's her cousin, I believe.
Yep.
So here was so Valerians make a very big grand entry to thunderous applause, and we see Laenor and Rhaenyra hold hands. They say my betrothed, and of course we get a lot of cuts to the seeing how how Sir Joffrey, the boyfriend, is looking. He kind of looks like I couldn't tell if there was like a look of jealousy or a look of
I don't know.
I don't know what it was, but they kept showing that.
Yeah.
And then of course then we see Damon enters, and everyone's like, whoa, what's going on here? I'm assuming he was a guest of Valerian.
Changed the mood immediately. So
yes.
Yeah.
And of course, Viserys gives his speech, and of course, there's a point where he freezes, and everybody freezes, and then all of a sudden, there's Alicent in her green dress, because I guess wearing a green dress is not common in Westeros. I don't know, but everybody froze, so I guess it was just to make us feel like something important was happening. Who knows?
Well, she showed up in the middle of his speech too, so.
That too.
I think that was part of it.
Yeah, I think that they were looking at her because of the interruption. I think that the comment about the green dress was for the audience, and we've had enough complaints about shows recently narrating to the audience. That line was a miss. That shouldn't have been done that way. They should have built that up with some sort of exposition in a previous episode, maybe, and then had it left unstated. Some people would get it, some people wouldn't. but you have to risk some of your audience missing the subtle things for them to actually have payoffs as subtle. If you just spoon feed the audience, then the attentive audience doesn't feel any engagement and doesn't feel any accomplishment. So
I agree. Yeah, that's true. It's just, I mean, it's just how it is. But when it comes to, I mean, this stuff is still better, way miles better than lots of worse stuff.
Yeah, way better.
But yeah, there's like, I mean, like you have to, I mean, people really have to start really, I mean, just look at some of the old shows and just follow that. I mean,
yeah,
seriously. I mean, it's.
No, I think it could have been a way to work it in, but it was a throwaway line. I get it. It was one of those things.
Yeah.
But
just look at any TV show or movie that was good, that was made before cell phones and social media were made, and you're going to see much better dialogue because they assumed the audience was paying attention, whereas now they assume that you're not. And
yeah, that's right. Oh, social media.
I mean, it's not just a modern thing. There was a TV show, the guys from the Naked Gun series, they made like a police kind of a show. It might have had police in the name. Anyway, it got canceled, and apparently the comment was that it got canceled because the audience had to actually watch the show because like it was. You were punished. Police squad. There you go. Shane's got it. So the audience was punished because they had, you had to watch the show, and the audience was not paying close enough attention. They were missing too much of the stuff going on, and so it just didn't play. So there's a happy medium probably somewhere, but we've gone too far. We've gone too far towards the outside.
Way too far. Yep.
I agree.
Thanks, Shane.
Yeah, you're awesome, man. All right, so we get another. So we get the king. The king coughs again, and of course the feast is. I write this. I already wrote this down. Feast is in the throne room. Blah blah blah, and of course we see them dancing. Husband and wife are dancing. And of course we see Alicent is stone faced, and basically once again everybody gets up and dances. And yeah, that was the. I mean, I thought it was cool seeing the wedding. I thought seeing the wedding was cool, but. Just seeing the dancing and just
dancing took too much. Was too long.
A little too long. I agree.
And it was super boring dancing. I get it. Yeah. Like medieval dancing was probably boring, but like they could have done something more approximating kind of semi-modern ballroom dance, and like it would have been a little more visually engaging, a little more interesting.
Just don't make it as long.
The whole like hands up here, hey, and then turn around.
It would have been fine. I think it would have been fine if it wasn't as long. I mean, I get what you're saying too, but it's just the dancing stuff was too long. You should have moved it on, I think.
Yeah. So we got a pretty interesting scene right here. We see Gerald Royce confronts Damon, accusing him. At least that's how I put it. He accuses him of foul play, and Damon asks. I laughed when I heard this. Damon asks, like, well. My lady wife is dead, so where's my inheritance?
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. We need to talk about my inheritance. I'm like, dude, I love Damon.
I'm like, yeah, I love savage. He's like, I'm going to go to the Vale. I'm going to petition Lady Jane, and we're gonna get to the bottom of this. I was like, damn, dang, dude, whoa, that was. Yeah. I mean, I thought it was funny, and I see Lady Balefire thought it was stupid.
The one thing that I think, so obviously Damon has a dragon. He can get around the country pretty quickly, right? Sure, but also dragons are generally noticed.
Yeah.
So if they ever have that happen where he goes up to the Vale, I am curious how his alibi stands up. Because it's going to be like, yeah, so we had a nearby farmer reported a dragon in the area on the day that she died. Last time I checked, that means it's you or like 3 other people.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's his dragon. He can hide it. I mean, I'm not like it. It wasn't like he was. I don't know. It's one of those things. I think that's something that could be gotten. I mean, it's not like there's people everywhere. So I mean, whatever. It's not a big deal to me. It was more the dialogue. He just was completely unconcerned, and it was just like
I wasn't saying that as
bro.
a complaint about that
Yeah.
dialogue. I'm just
Okay.
saying, we could have some humorous scenes where Damon suddenly realizes that actually giant 100-foot long dragons aren't invisible.
Yeah. Well, that's true. But yeah, I don't
I
know.
think
I loved
he'd
it.
just request trial by combat and kill the dude. So
Yep. Exactly. There you go. There's that
We
too.
haven't seen that yet on this show. We haven't seen a trial by combat.
Yeah, I think hopefully, I think the action will probably start ramping up here now that we're getting through all the story building. We're gonna start
About
getting into
time.
action.
Yeah.
About
No,
time.
I don't think we need more dragons. More dragons are coming. I think we're gonna get plenty of dragons.
I was
You
Yeah.
got to build to some of this stuff. I mean, just dragons and sword fighting right away. There's got to be some building blocks put in here. So at least for me, I don't know.
And there was another scene that was set up, but I thought it was it was very brief. Damon goes up and walks up to Lena and he starts a conversation with her. So that's obviously setting up.
Well, he talked to several people too. He like whispers on the way through. He said something to a few people, I thought, on the way out, before he grabbed Rhaenyra, and they had their one little thing. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much he's got his ear in some of these people's in this room's. I don't know.
Yeah, they're setting up because Damon's going to marry Lena. So Damon's going to marry Lena, and they're setting that up. That's why I went up and talked to her.
That's what I figured. That's exactly what I figured. I think I said as much. Him making his play for the crown here at this point.
Yeah, and like you said, so there's so many things going on. There's that, and then of course there's Joffrey. Joffrey and Laenor Joffrey talks to Sir Kristen. And he talks about like the secrets, like I know your secret, our secret, let's protect them. And Sir Kristen, well, I won't get into that yet, but what was funny was we do see a little bongo player. I was curious if that was Mushroom, the dwarfen
I did see him.
I'm not sure if that was Mushroom though. The one that is
I don't
unreliable narrator for World of Ice and Fire.
I saw the little guy. Other than that, I didn't notice anything else other than he was like a little dude with a drum.
I didn't want to sound I don't want to sound heightist or anything, but like I just see I see a dwarf. I assumed it was Mushroom. I don't know why. It was probably not. I take responsibility if I'm wrong in that regard, but hopefully we should see Mushroom. I hope we see Mushroom eventually. So, but we get a Daemon and Rhaenyra scene. They're speaking Valyrian, and she's just goading him. She's like, "Come on, take me away, take me to Dragonstone. Let's do this. Come on." And he's just like, "Okay." He's like, "No," or I forget how it goes out. I forgot how that scene goes. We see that, and we see Viserys looking at them because they're right next to each other, and then all of a sudden, we see troops coming in, soldiers coming in. People are starting to freak out. I was like, are they really teasing a red wedding? Like, I couldn't help but think of the red wedding. You had the wedding, and then you had troops coming in, and I was like, oh, are they Easter egging the red wedding? Of course, that didn't happen. It was just Kristen is nuts at this point, and he just beats Sir Joffrey to death. He just beats the crap out of him. He punches Laenor. I don't know why he's alive. Here's my issue. Why the hell is that guy alive?
Is what?
He assaulted
What,
Laenor.
Crispin?
Yeah, and he killed the knight.
So that's the thing that I couldn't figure out is what really started the fight.
Well, I think he just went nuts. I mean,
I think he went nuts after.
I think he went nuts because his honor is already in question. He tried to regain it by running away with Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra rejected him. Now you got this little pencil dick guy come up and be like, "It's okay, we can be boy toys. Fuck your honor." And he's like, "Nope, I've had enough of that." And he caves his head in because he just went crazy.
I just mean
why he didn't get arrested or whatever after. I don't know.
So I just mean, so he clearly must have walked out into the dance floor, right? did he just attack him just out in the middle of it? Is that what started the whole press of everyone, or did something else like instigate it and then he just kind of went off?
Oh, I don't know.
That was what was hard for me to see.
I wasn't sure what brought all the guards in, other than I wasn't sure what was happening. I assumed it was maybe he took him out and started beating him, and somebody grabbed the guards. I don't know what brought the guards running. But I mean,
because they saw it.
The only reason I could think that he's not arrested is maybe that what's his name? God, the sea snake. They're happy that they did him a favor and got rid of his little boy toy.
Oh my gosh, I didn't think of that.
That's the only reason. That's the only reason I could think that he's still alive is they're happy that dude's gone. That's an obstacle off the board.
It sounds terrible, but it might be true.
And then you could also have what's her name? God, man, I'm getting stream brain. It's getting late. Allison could have been like, no, he's fine.
That too. Like,
I mean, she's obviously
he's under her protection. She's a queen.
He is obviously her pawn now. So maybe she said, nope, let him go.
Blood on the dance floor.
So
it's murder on the dance floor. It's murder on the dance floor.
Yep. So there's two reasons. There's two reasons. Two people are probably Allison is protecting her investment, and the sea snake and family are quite happy to have that guy gone.
Okay, so you know what?
Maybe.
There you go.
Those are two possible reasons. Just off the top of my head.
Those might be the right reasons. So there you go. Okay.
So
remember when they tried to arrest Barristan Selmy? In the books, they tried to arrest Barristan Selmy.
I would say, are we equating Kristen Cole to Sir Barristan the Bold, though?
Heck no. Barristan the Bold's awesome. I was so pissed. I was so pissed how they handled him in season 5.
Oh, God. Can we not talk about it, please?
All right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, please do. Oh, my God. Yeah, it's so hard to talk about. Yes. They did him so dirty.
I was like, yeah.
So dirty.
They killed him off to give Tyrion something to do.
All right, Prophet's trying to get out of here in a couple minutes.
I know. We're almost done.
I'm not trying to. I got to go to work.
All right. All right, Prophet. What's your final thoughts?
I enjoyed it. I think it sets up whatever's going to happen. I think the pieces are now set. I'm hoping now we ramp up into some action, warring set pieces. And start getting some strategic plays for power going in a physical sense. I think we've had a lot of setup, and we've now know these characters, the stakes each of them have, and where they're positioned. I think there's still some more political intrigue to be played here, obviously, but I'd like to see some marshaling of forces and some moves, like some big moves to be made on, pieces taken off the board, so to speak. Some power plays physical power plays to be made, if you know what I mean. So, but yeah, so I'm enjoying it. I still think it's doing a good job. Everything around it is making it look 15 times better.
Okay. And all right, so Steve, do you have anything you want to promote before you go?
I don't know.
Nintendo.
We got to figure out when to do that Nintendo Direct thing. I'm working midnight, so we'll have to talk. But we're gonna go over Nintendo Direct, the latest one, because I've never heard Nerporeal in his life say I need to vent. So I felt like that could be some good conversation. Plus trying to get into some video game stuff, so it'd be nice to get started somewhere. So that we're gonna do. I got the that other show thing happening, which kills my brain cells. And I think a few more videos, hopefully this week, I can put together. I have in production now. But yeah, so just more of the things are happening. So just check out Prophet of the Dragon, please. And give me a sub if you like what you see. Maybe become a member. Who knows?
Yep, membership's available on Prophet of the Dragon.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for doing this again. It's always fun. I wish I wish we could get a little bit more traction, get a few more voices in here. Chat's always nice to bounce off of. Always got good people in your chat. So we need more. Let's get some more in here.
Yeah.
Tell your friends, chat. Tell your friends. And whatever you need from me for that, I'm assuming it's going to be Breaking Bad stuff,
It might
or
be.
Better Call Saul. Let me know. I am in.
Okay, definitely.
Absolutely.
All right, Steve. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you
Thanks for
both.
doing
Sorry.
this.
Yeah. Sorry. Every time, man. You're whenever you need me. So, Pips, always a pleasure. Not like
Yeah,
I
you
saw
too.
you a few hours ago, but yeah. So
Did
always
that
good
happen
to.
today? I don't know. I was
Yeah,
drunk.
I guess it did. Everything is melding together, but yeah. So sorry to bail. Like, at least we made it to the end. So,
Yeah.
of the episode. So thank you for having me, and we're gonna. If we don't see you before then, we'll see you next week for sure.
There you go.
All right. Good night, guys.
Good night. Okay. I want to read this. I love this line from Game of Thrones. Even now, I cut through the five of you like a knife through, I think through butter. Here, boy, add this to your collection. Sir Barristan the Bold. That's right. All right. I think we had a few more things left. Let's see.
I think we did.
Okay, so the crowds are going crazy. Sir Kristen's beating up Sir Joffrey. Breakbones comes in, Harwin, and he for a second I thought he was going to break up the entire fight. He didn't break up the fight. He basically did what the Hound did with Sansa in Game of Thrones. He basically went in and got Rhaenyra, carried her like literally on his shoulder. I guess he's that strong. He carried her out of there. So also kind of made me think of Kevin McAllister and the shovel, the neighbor, the shovel, the shovel guy, the salt shovel guy. Forget his name, but he was carrying him on his shoulder too. Same thing. So they got him out, and I was like, "Is Joffrey dead? Is Sir Joffrey dead?" And yeah, he's dead. He's very dead. And what's funny was they had the wedding. They had the wedding right after. I'm guessing they had the wedding right after that. They kept the blood there. Like, I think it would have been cleaned up right away.
The food was still out there.
Yeah.
The blood was still on the floor. They literally just like dragged the body off and then had the wedding there.
Yeah, I was just like, okay. I was like, okay. I think they're trying to make it symbol. You know, you have the rats there and you have the blood there. You know, the Targaryens getting rotten. There's going to be war. It's an allegory for war. Symbolism for war is going to come. Rotten, something's rotten in the house of Targaryen. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't been super impressed by all the rats that we've seen. Admittedly, I've missed one or two of them. Could be a brightness setting on my TV. Maybe I need to boost it up a little bit.
Yeah, there was the rat. There was the rat like in the by the Balerian skull, and then there was the rat when I don't know if it was when she was having sex with the king, but she was looking up. And there was a rat on top of the bed. So it was just like, okay.
But I don't know. My question with them doing it right there was it makes more sense with the king's like really bad health. I don't know. It's hard for me to really put that all together and figure out why they would have made the decision to basically hustle everybody out, right? So literally no one's there for the wedding. They huddle everyone out, and then they just just a few of them in the dark, didn't even have the staff clean anything up. It's just a weird choice. I'm assuming it's because the king was not feeling very well and thought he might not make it to the end of the week after the trying events that we just saw. So maybe he'll be dead from this and he won't be around in the next episode, or he's going to be really, really, in a bad place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that could make sense. So we see that at the wedding, and then they cut to Kristen. He's standing outside, and he's crying. It looks like he's crying. And he takes out his sword. He's about to drive it into his stomach. And then, of course, I was like, okay, I know I know that's not going to happen. So obviously, Alicent is going to come and rescue him, and he's going to be completely devoted to her for the rest of his life. And it's just, yeah, okay, whatever. I get it. And I'll be honest, I did like the music in this scene, though. Just very Ramin Djawadi. It was. I thought it was great. Not quite Faith of Faith of the Seven, but it was still good. I like Ramin Djawadi. He's a really good composer and really shaped just shaped the sound, just the tone of every scene in Game of Thrones and now House of the Dragon. And it's they don't just. I mean, I know they reused the main theme, but I liked how they've been coming up with. He came up with some original themes that sound kind of familiar, like variations of like the Lannister theme and all the other things. But I like what they've been doing because they're not too similar. So
yeah, I'm somebody who doesn't necessarily really notice the music in shows unless it's really, really good or really, really bad. So far, I think that this show has been pretty competent. The music has generally contributed to the scene without intruding in it, which is, I think, what a score should do. So,
yeah, the only time I really called out like music from Game of Thrones was the end of season 6, when they were playing the entire Faith of the Seven, and like the entire situation was going towards the music, and it was just. It was amazing. It was an amazing moment. It was probably the last best moment in my opinion. That I was like, ooh, wow, this is awesome. And then after that, it just season 7 and 8 happened. And
I thought we said we weren't going to talk about that show.
I'm sorry. I'll do better. So, but yeah, so they have the wedding and the king collapses, and as the king collapses, we see the rats feeding on the blood, and that's basically the end of the episode. So we're done.
The crown also kind of bounced off his head when he fell. So
did it? Okay.
Yeah.
I did not notice that. I did not
the crown fell off his ground and fell off his head and rolled away.
Okay. Yeah, the crown that got away.
That's why I kind of thought like it might be that he's he's going to be dead. It sounds like chat's saying that he's in the sort of trailer for the next week, so I guess he's not dead. But my take there was that it might be. But all right, what is this?
Pips, the world is yours, Chico, and everything in it. Fly, Pelican, fly. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's the breakdown of this episode. I really was enjoying this episode. I know this episode wasn't perfect. No, I mean no episode of any show is. There's always things to critique about. Nothing's beneath criticism. I just wish more people understood that, especially when it comes to shows that have been getting a lot of criticism, deservedly so. That I won't talk about because of a promise I made. But this episode, I really, really enjoyed. I'm kind of with Salty, 8 out of 10, 8 and maybe 8 to an 8.5 out of 10. I think originally I was going to give this a 9, but after what Pips, thanks to you being a quote unquote, from your own words, a Debbie Downer.
I'm a consistent Debbie Downer.
I actually, because of the fact that they haven't really set these things up that they should have been doing from the beginning. So is why I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. But I really enjoyed the hell out of this episode. I loved the lore. I just wanted to see Driftmark. I like seeing things. I don't like hearing things. I want you to show me things. Don't tell us things. Show us stuff. Which is another thing that's a problem with a lot of shows, including a show about that we won't talk about. But I'd give this roughly an 8 out of 10. So that's my final score. Everything about it was fascinating. I had a great time taking notes. I never like taking notes, so that should tell you something right there. And so Pips, has your score changed, or has it evolved based on our conversation now? I need to know. I got to know, man.
I think before I was probably rounding up when I gave it my 7.5, and I'm just gonna say I'm going to round down now. I'm going to give it a 7, which I think is what I gave the last episode. I think that it's moved the plot, but it hasn't really moved the needle on the show for me. I think that if this show doesn't have a really strong second half of the season, I think that this is going to be a fairly forgettable show in terms of the grand scheme of things. I think Salty was 100% right when he said this would have been a pedestrian show, 20 years ago, something like that. It
Yeah.
would have been an okay show for like the late 90s, early 2000s, and is only a good show in current year, with every, the garbage that this is surrounded by. A rose's beauty is really brought out by, being mixed in with the weeds, I guess is what we're seeing. But I think that the show is still doing a lot of things right. I know certain people in the chat and elsewhere are not big fans of the show, and that's totally fine. They have valid reasons for doing that. I will say that I think the show is delivering on a lot of things that the fans want from it. You're right. The score, the visuals, bringing something to life and letting the audience see it and feeling like it is the place that it's supposed to be. Like, those are all things that the show is doing well. I just want them to tighten up the story and characters a little bit, and have a little bit more of a through line kind of going through some of these events, so that we don't have to keep on kind of having this conversation of like, man, like, so close, but a miss, and a miss that like you notice when you're watching it. I want to not notice the negative stuff as we're watching, and just kind of be able to cruise along and be caught up in it. And the show consistently, once or twice per episode, has a pretty glaring stumble, in my opinion, and that's what's holding it back. So
Okay. All right. But that makes sense. And yeah. And once again, like I said, not to continually toot your horn, but yeah, your input, your takes are once again very valuable to, especially for me to come up with my final score or decision or whatever. So
that's what everyone tells me. They bring me around because I'm such a negative and sort of pessimistic individual. I'm really the life of the party.
I don't see you as pessimistic. You're just very you're just very analytical, and you point shit out. You point shit out that a lot of people take for granted, and I think it's a good thing to do. So, but yeah, man. Once again, yeah. Thanks for doing this with me.
Thanks
Steve,
for having me. It's always a blast.
Yeah, Steve, Prophet. I know you guys are listening. Yeah, thank you guys for coming. Salty, yeah. Let me know if you can. Let me know if you can. Just DM me. We'll talk about this offline. So, but yeah, this was a great episode, and we're 2 hours in, and I think it's either. I think I'm gonna go to the gym, and then I'm gonna play some more Elden Ring, and that's what I'm gonna. Because I have a gym membership that's 24/7, so I can go whenever I want. Plus, I'm not.
Well, I got to go to bed tomorrow. I got to do some video editing and stuff like that. We got some stuff coming out this week, but work and things like that continues to be the defining force of existence in people's lives. Just like Salty had to leave, got to pay those bills.
Yeah, exactly. So what projects are you doing this week, Pips?
So we just recorded another segment of the rewatch after being on vacation. So we'll release those 2 episodes this week. We got a couple shorts that dropped today and a couple other content coming out. And then Alex has been putting out Nielsen data ratings for TV shows. So anybody who's interested in a pretty short package, they're only a minute or a couple minutes long, breaking down the actual legitimate viewership numbers for these shows as they come out. The Nielsen data it's a couple weeks delayed as they compile the data and release it. But it is pretty interesting to cut through all of the schlock essentially and see hey, these shows, what are they actually getting? The most recent one that we hit. So the numbers for She-Hulk's premiere week finally have been processed and released. And She-Hulk is the first Disney MCU streaming show in its series history to not make the top 10 of viewership numbers in Nielsen data reporting, which means that the actual views were not even reported. They didn't make the threshold to be published. That's a huge failure for the show, the first one of any one of their shows. And so we track that kind of stuff and just release hey, no review bombing here. We're not looking at the IMDb scores. We're just saying who's watching the shows and how much are they watching. And it's pretty revealing. So
okay, I didn't even know Nielsen was still a thing. I know that was something back in the day.
Yeah, they do their streaming shows numbers. And House of the Dragon, despite only having opened for about 3 hours before the weekly cutoff, because they do it in weekly intervals, beat the crap out of She-Hulk by making it into the top 10 with a pretty strong reporting period, which shouldn't have been surprising based on the 10 million people who watched the premiere night of that first show. But yeah,
What about another show that we can't
you'll have to tune in this week, because if House of the Dragons numbers came out last week's Nielsen data reporting, this week's Nielsen data should include the premiere week for that show, which shall not be named. And it'll be very interesting to see what those numbers are, given some of the review or the rumors floating around those numbers. So,
okay, all right, cool. All right, well, all right. So yeah, everybody subscribe to the White Cloaks, or sorry, the White.
if you feel like it, if there's time, we're okay.
Okay.
Subscribe to Nerdporial at Prophet Salty. They're good dudes. If there's time, subscribe to us.
I've heard about this Nerdporial guy. I hear he's a hack. I don't know. He's a jerk. But yeah. All right. So, but yeah, cool beans. So here, so for me, I am my current video project, which is, I haven't gotten to the video part yet, is a retrospective on the original Planet of the Apes. So I already took my notes. Watched the film. There's so much going on in that film. And I'm still doing research into the production and like how big of a pop culture icon it was, and like how its legacy left. So I'm looking for a bunch of Simpsons. They reference the shit out of the Planet of the Apes and the Simpsons. So I'm trying to see if I can find every Simpsons reference to that. So, but that's what I'm currently doing. I'm still writing I'm writing the script. I'm trying to write it less like an essay and more like a video. So I'll say something and then I'll show it, instead of just me talking about everything, which is what I generally do. So I'm trying to shape it up this time. So that's my current project, and I want to do some more serial horror chats now that we're approaching fall and we're approaching Halloween season. So I did one with my friend Marty. We talked about this really ridiculous movie called Blood Diner from the 80s. It's less of a it's basically a satire of horror, and it's just the most ridiculous thing ever. It's so violent, and it's just so stupid. It's funny. And we talk about it. It's ridiculous. So I wanted
B horror movies are fantastic. I'm gonna have to tune in and watch what you guys say on that, because I do love some good B horrors.
Okay, yeah, Blood Diner is like the B-est of horror. Like it's like
nice.
It was supposed to be a sequel to a 60s B movie called Blood Feast, and it's just like it's just some of the like they have a fat dude like I can't even like there's a point where a person's talking, you can clearly tell it's a dub, and you the viewer is wondering if that's even his voice. And it's just the most ridiculous shit you'll ever see. It's so funny. It's so funny. Like if you have a bad day, you watch that, you'll feel much better after seeing that, even though it's effed up. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I'm trying to contact people, see whoever wants to do stream. So if you like horror movies, hit me up. If you like horror, if there's a horror movie you really want to talk about, hit me up, and I'll see what I can do. So, but yeah, that's what I'm doing, and of course, this every week, and other stuff. You know, Steve's Nintendo Direct thing. That's another interesting thing to do. So yeah, the ideas are all over the place. So there's so many things you can do. There's always I always have an idea of something to do. So there's always something to do. So I'll probably be a YouTuber the rest of my life. Because there's always shit. There's always stuff I want to talk about. So that's me. So, but it's 11:20 p.m. my time, and I think it's time for us to say goodnight and say goodbye. So, once again, Pips, Salty, Prophet, you guys keep the conversation moving. I appreciate you guys greatly. Chat, I appreciate you guys coming in. Whoever came in and left early, I still love you. Nosferatu, even you, still love you too. You know, I'll work on that jawline. So, but other than that, yeah, Lady Balefire, keep being blunt on how you feel about the show. We're not an echo chamber, like Salty always says, and I'm always willing to hear people's side takes on whether it's positive or negative. So that's just how I am. So, but other than that, I think that's good. So other than that, Everybody, have a good night, and may the wings of Nerporials carry you to the next episode, House of the Dragon. Take care.